Are you a pro wrestling fan? Then odds are at some point in your life, you were a backyard wrestler. In this new series, I'm going to take you through how we came from this to this. It's a long story, covering nearly 2 decades. But if you're a nostalgic person missing the backyard days of yesteryear and a simpler time of the 90s and early 2000s, this is the story for you. This is Backyard Wrestling Cinema. Welcome to Backyard Wrestling Cinema Season 6, Episode 5. It is the finale episode. This is a short season, I know, and I don't have anything written for this. Normally I try to put out the episode and kind of lay out a structure and create a story, but I don't know the story for this. I know where it ends, but I don't know the journey we're going to go on together. Last week we had left our brand new backyard that we had only done 3 shows in, which was TJ Money's house. He called me very last minute and told me we're not doing a show that day. I had 10, 15 guys standing around waiting to wrestle and had to tell them after an hour and a half of waiting around, we're not wrestling. I made a promise to those guys then and there I was going to buy a wrestling ring. I had no idea how to do it, where to get one, where to find one, where I would store it, how I would transport it, nothing. I just knew I had to do it. When we started this whole journey, I was asked by one of the original 4 members what our main goals for doing this show was. If I had to pick 3, what would they be? And I knew instantly what they were. To do a live show in front of a crowd, which we had just done months earlier. Get on TV, which we had done a year earlier. And to get a real ring. And this was the only one left. I was approaching my 18th birthday, coming up on that's when you're like an adult, And I knew I couldn't backyard wrestle forever. Joke's on me. I ended up doing it for a lot longer. But I thought, this is not going to last forever. It's time to transition into the professional side of stuff. I had done started training when I was 16 to be a wrestler. And I think at this time we had kind of stopped. So I had trained for about 2 years. I was ready to get out there and run professional shows. I felt I had enough experience with editing and creating and producing shows. Now I wanted to go out there and put on live events. If only there was a channel out there at the time that could explain to me how to do all this stuff. Now, our last show was late October of 2003. It was the last show we did. The following week was when we got canceled on by TJ Money, so we're in early November. And we just kind of got together and filmed vignettes and promos and little segments. And we did a lot of fun stuff, but we all missed the physical side of it, right? The doing the matches, the wrestling. That's what we were all in it for. I had found a way to get a ring, and it was thousands of dollars. And I think at the time I was making $7 an hour. So I had to put it on a credit system. And it wasn't a credit card, but it was some kind of a credit thing where I would have to pay monthly, hundreds of dollars monthly for years, because I had no credit. I didn't make enough money, but I had made a promise. And so we ordered the ring in the middle of November, and New Year's Eve of 2003, the last day of 2003, which was one of the greatest years of my life. It was full of highs and lows and everything else. The ring showed up at my ex-girlfriend's house, and we were able to store it in her garage. And about a month later, we held our first show in the backyard of a wrestler who had just started with us months prior, Jean-Luc Lambert. And I remember it was such a victory for me. I mean, it was cold. It was brutally cold. The weather was terrible. But I remember just looking at it and thinking now is our time. Now we're going to spend the time training and we're going to become this wrestling show. And I had no idea how hard it was going to be and how difficult it was going to be to find a venue, find a building, find insurance, find a way to transport the ring. All this stuff. I didn't know what I didn't know back then. But in that moment, I was elated. And we took that time, regrettably, to take shots at people who didn't come with us. Not everyone wanted to wrestle in a real ring. And it was just an incredible time.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you here to the B4W. But this is not the B4W that you're used to. No, this is not the old B4W. This is the new and improved B4W. See, since I've taken over ownership, I've, made some deals, done some things, and as you can see, we have ourselves a new official B4W ring. And it's here at our new official training site.
And to see this ring standing in this open field and knowing we were putting on B4W matches in a real ring, it's a feeling that never left me. I don't ever, anytime I do get in the ring, and not to wrestle, like nowadays if I just walk into the ring or if I speak before the shows, usually I'll stand in the ring so that everybody can kind of hear me. It's never lost on me how special that is. All your time in professional wrestling is so fleeting. You only have so many years to do it. And even at that age, I had just turned 18. Even at that age, or maybe 19, I don't remember. And even at that age, I knew this was a defining moment in my life and would shape the next, I didn't know then, but it would shape the next 20 years of my life. Like I said, finding a building, finding a venue, making it all happen and running pro shows, it was going to be a lot harder than I thought. And not everybody there signed up to just train out in the cold. Like Vern Gagne trained Ric Flair, like out in his barn in freezing temperatures in Minnesota. Not everybody signed up for that. They signed up to be a part of a backyard wrestling show, and we were slowly going to get away from that and focus more and more on training and finding buildings. And probably because of that, we lose over half our roster. But that's for another season. I want to thank you guys for joining me on this journey. When I first started, I let you guys know exactly what our goals were from the beginning. It was those three that I talked about earlier. Getting on TV, check. Doing a show in front of a live crowd, check. And now getting a real ring, check. Thank you all for following this series. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you again right here on Backyard Wrestling Cinema.
So they like each other right now?
Yeah.
Why are you recording this?
I think he was jealous
How?
because he was the first world champ.
And a handshake between Tommy Thunder and Mr. Benjamin's in good sport.
I want to thank some of our old wrestlers like TJ Money, Homeboy, Tommy Thunder. Yeah, since I took over, you guys went running with your tails between your legs because you knew how tough it was